For the team, it will be business as usual when Penn State takes on Lehigh this Sunday, but there are three matchups that have pretty serious implications for the Nittany Lions.
You are Locked On Nittany Lions, your daily podcast on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And as always, thanks so much for making Locked On Nittany Lions your first listen and watch every single day. My name is Zach Seyko. I'm your host of the show. We are talking Penn State wrestling versus Lehigh on the road for Penn State. Well, neutral site, if you will. Braeden Davis injury update, Aaron Nagao injury update, and those three matchups that I am circling on this card between Penn State and Lehigh. So let's talk about those three matchups, and I want to begin with the most consequential of them all, the one that could be a preview of an NCAA quarterfinal, semifinal. Maybe I won't go as far as a championship, but at 197, I am looking at Michael Beard of Lehigh, former Penn State wrestler, of course, versus Josh Barr, who has now cemented himself. In my opinion and everybody else's opinion, the jury's still out for Cale Sanderson and the coaching staff because they have different plans and different circumstances there. But Josh Barr has earned the right to be the consistent starter more often than not. It's not that Lucas Cochran can't handle anything that they throw at him, but you have to be able to beat the guy next to you. So Josh Barr is the starter. So this one here, Josh Barr versus Michael Beard, does have a lot of implications because it answers the question of just how good is Josh Barr at this point in time. Michael Beard placed 8th last year, All-American, was an All-American when he was at Penn State too, but then transferred out for reasons, of course. And now Beard has settled himself as one of the best wrestlers at 197 in the country. He's also a veteran of the sport. I mean, this is someone that has been wrestling since it came in as a true freshman in 2019. So he is a fifth-year veteran going up against redshirt freshman Josh Barr. And get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready for this one because it is a test to see how far has Josh Barr reached. Because defeating Lucas Cochran, I think, is a challenge in itself, right? That was who you were battling with for that starting 197 spot. And I had the belief that Cochran could be a top 8 wrestler. I thought that if he were the starter, he could be an All-American just as much as Josh Barr could be. But now that Josh Barr has clearly shown that there's a gap between himself and his teammate Cochran, now you're going up against actual competition. Now you're going up against somebody where it's not just iron sharpens iron, everybody is just trying to make everybody better. No, this is someone that is trying to take a victory from you. This isn't just friendly competition to try to make you better. Cards are on the table here. And Michael Beard, this is personal for him because he went to Penn State, because of transferring out and joining Lehigh. You don't think this one that this has been on his mind for the longest time? One of the best wrestlers and should be someone that contends. Again, 197 is very crowded. I like this 197-pound class a lot. So I can't just circle a couple of names because anybody could really break through. And that's why I mentioned, and that includes a Michael Beard. And from what Josh Barr has shown us, he is absolutely He is in control of his own destiny. So if Josh Barr ends up in the semifinals, it's not going to be by accident. And the same thing goes for Michael Beard. Same thing. They would have to earn it, but it's extremely crowded. So you do need some things to break in your favor. So we talked to Josh Barr in the middle of the week. I am eager to see how he handles it coming off of that emphatic victory. It wasn't a close one. It was a dominant one against Connor Mirasula and Lucas Cochran, how he's able to take that on now and go up against a Michael Beard. Somebody that is All-America status and someone that is the level of caliber that all of us are expecting Josh Barr to be for this season. So Josh Barr ranked 23rd according to Intermat. That's going to change with a victory. This is a toss-up in my mind against number 6 Michael Beard because I still need to see more from Josh Barr. It doesn't change my opinion of Josh Barr if he happens to lose by a point or two, if this result gets out of control. then maybe expectations need to change. But I expect Josh Barr to win, or this one and this one to be extremely close one way or another. But if he does happen to lose, it's not going to change my expectations for his season. I want to say Braeden Davis and Aaron Nagao and put them together at 133 since they're dealing with different types of injuries, but they're on the injury update here. So I want to go to Luke Lilledahl. This is the second of 3 matchups that I'm looking at, and it's going to be very exciting. Now, I expect Luke Lilledahl to take care of business. It is solid competition, though. This is a top 15 wrestler. This is another 5th-year veteran, like a Michael Beard, in Sheldon Seymour. Seymour's ranked 15th. I don't think Lilledahl has any issues. I think he takes care of business, like I mentioned, but Seymour at least has been around for a long time, extremely technical. I mean, this one, he's going to look to try to, make a name for himself here, as Luke Lilledahl, as we all know, is the prodigy, that he is supposed to be that next young and up-and-coming wrestler for not only Penn State, but the entire collegiate wrestling scene. So there's a lot for Seymour to prove in his own right, but Lilledahl being the 16th overall wrestler according to Intermat, it counts as an upset, if you will. It's the same thing when he defeated Charlie Farmer at the Black Knight Invitational. It counts as an upset, but Luke Lilledahl's the favorite here. I expect a victory, but by how much? How much will he defeat a Sheldon Seymour by? So for Lilledahl, this matchup is about not getting too ahead of yourself, if you will, because expectations are going to continue to rise, and people are the spotlight is going to get brighter in this sense. I don't think it's not that Luke Lilledahl certainly he can handle it, because he was on the big stage. The spotlight was bright when he was wrestling at the World Championships, right? So this doesn't really change anything for him here, but it's just it's kind of looking at it as you are making a name for yourself. People know who you are, and you have to be able to handle that responsibility that people are going to try to take you out and circle this matchup. So for Lilledahl, it's understanding that, but at 125, I mean, it is exciting for Penn State to see a team that had struggled at the lightweight for so long, and then Braeden Davis comes along, wins a Big Ten championship, and then makes it interesting in the NCAA tournament. But now Luke Lilledahl is in the title consideration right out of the gate as a true freshman. So just looking to see how he does in this follow-up match. After defeating a top 20 wrestler, now he goes up against a top 15 wrestler. And of course, as I mentioned, Braeden Davis there, he is recovering from a knee injury. All intel sounds good, but he's got an extremely tough matchup. It doesn't get any tougher than Ryan Crookham. Took 3rd place last year, was defeating Vito Arujá throughout the season up until the NCAA tournament. But if you take down that wrestler, then you are one of the greatest at that weight class. We'll talk about Braeden Davis's injury update and this matchup against Ryan Crookham, along with Aaron Nagao and his availability on the other side of this break. And today's show is brought to you by Mint Mobile. I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I am not going to walk barefoot through broken glass just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy, no hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, you have to call them out on it. And it turns out it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of this entire process is the time you spend on hold waiting to break up with your old provider. To get started, go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege, and there you will see that right now all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer, your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. That is mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Slower speeds above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can bet just $5. $5 is all it takes, and you will get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more. And it's all on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. And if we look over at FanDuel.com, we can see the lines for the Big Ten championship game. Penn State football versus Oregon. Nittany Lions are 3.5-point underdogs. Oregon is the favorite here. Oregon is minus 166 on the money line at last update. Penn State is plus 138. And the total is at 50.5. And it keeps going back and forth. It's 49.5, then it's 50.5. If you like those lines, you can bet them over at FanDuel.com. And remember, you will get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Again, that is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Braeden Davis's availability is going to be extremely important to monitor because of not only the update that we got about Davis himself, but the update that we got about Aaron Nagao. The update about Aaron Nagao was not good, and depth at 133 is now going to be extremely limited, so Penn State has to protect Braeden Davis in some sort of sense. So the intel is positive in Davis's case. Knee injury, was able to wrestle through it against Drexel, didn't travel for the Black Knight Open, did not compete, and I'm not surprised by that. That's kind of what I expected there. And the way that Kale had talked about it originally, that it's just, hey, we're going to have to wait for the doctor, we're going to have to see how Braeden Davis feels, and it seems that it's trending in the right direction, that this isn't a long-term injury. We'll talk about Aaron Nagao's situation, alluding to that there. But this is a day-to-day now. It was week by week. Now it kind of turns into day-to-day. I will say this, though. Coaches know better than I do. Medical staff knows better than I do. Braeden Davis knows better than I do, right? But if Braeden Davis is not 100%, I don't know that Penn State should throw him out there week in and week out. You don't have the depth, and that's with... I'll cut to the chase on Aaron Nagao. Aaron Nagao's out long-term. Cale Sanderson was extremely transparent to an extent, admitted that Nagao had a major surgery. This is something that you don't rush back from. So he's going to be out, logically speaking, for the foreseeable future. He will not wrestle for Penn State this season. He mentioned that we will see Aaron Nagao, which I can attest to. I pointed that out, that, hey, Nagao's exercising. He's doing workouts, but he's clearly not competing. He's not actively training. So Nagao being out at 133 and then Davis just being questionable for at least the next few days, weeks, you just don't want that injury to get worse. As all of you out there as wrestling fans, people who appreciate the sport and this season of college wrestling in particular, Ryan Crookham is the odds-on favorite to win that 133-pound title. The only person that was standing in his way in the semifinal was Vita Arujau, and he got the best of him. All the other times didn't matter as much who's carrying the gold at the end of the season. It ended up being Arujau, but that's how good Ryan Crookham is. The fact that you win 2 out of 3 against Arujau, who has won world titles, has represented the United States, and you don't get the final championship, you don't get the gold against him when it matters in the NCAA tournament, but to defeat him in the regular season and then to follow it up with the EIWA tournament and to win convincingly against Arujau. I don't know. I don't know that I like Braeden Davis's chances. If both of these wrestlers are at 110%, I'm going to favor Crookham. And I also want to see how much better Braeden Davis is, because we saw Braeden Davis at times struggle against elite competition. He's a true freshman. He's wrestling at 125, but now that's the difference. He's moved up a weight class. Ryan Crookham is waiting at 133 and now and Braeden Davis is walking into his dungeon in a sense, right? For Crookham, this is his weight class to lose. It's not that I don't respect the other competitors at 133. Lucas Bird, Nazir Bailey, Dylan Ragusin, Dylan Shaver, Drake Ayala. 133 is loaded, but there was a clear gap between Vita Arujau and the rest of this group. And now you have Ryan Crookham, who defeated Arujau twice last season. he takes over as the king in a sense. But I maybe I shouldn't crown him because he took third place a season ago and he did not win gold. For Braeden Davis, I go back to, I'm excited for this matchup. I am excited for the idea of this matchup. I hope Davis is good to go. And it sounds like he will wrestle against Lehigh. However, if he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised because of the limited depth there. Aaron Nagao being out long-term, he's not going to wrestle this season, and hopefully his recovery goes well. Gary Steen is not a reliable option moving forward. Look, Gary Steen's wrestling in the Penn State mat room. He is extremely talented to his own accord, but not to the extent of Aaron Nagao. Aaron Nagao was an All-American when he was at his healthiest. He's just had bad luck at Penn State. And then for Braeden Davis to start the season off like this, Davis starting the season off like this with not a minor injury, not a major injury, a minor injury, but you got to monitor it when you don't have a solid backup behind you like an Aaron Nagao anymore. So my point being is if he's not fully 100%, I don't expect him to compete. I expect Penn State to roll out Gary Steen against Crookham, but this is a top 10 matchup that everybody would love to see. I would side with Crookham here. Maybe Davis can prove me wrong. We know that Davis is obviously really good defensively. He's really good on top, but Crookham is good at everything. He's great at everything. So I would side with Crookham in this case. Those are the three matchups that I'm looking to. Those are the most exciting ones for this one. Penn State should take care of business. Those are the solidly ranked wrestlers for Lehigh, if you will. Based on the match notes that Penn State had put out, Luke Lilledahl at 125, Braeden Davis at 33, Bartlett at 41, Shane Van Ness at 49, K-Sack at 57, or Alex Facundo. The season's not over for Facundo and Cochran just because they lost at the Black Knight Invitational. Kale admitted to us there will be more wrestle-offs. This isn't over and they're preparing for March. So this is a long season, but we know this for a fact. K-Sack is not redshirting, and Barr, they have cemented themselves. They have clearly shown a separation for them to be the starters and anticipating for the postseason, right? Messenbrink at 65, Haynes at 74, Starachi at 84, Barr at 97, or Cochran, and then Kirkfleet at heavyweight. When it comes to what Lehigh is going to put together, so this is based off of, they lost to Pitt 21-12. Lehigh, remember, is ranked in the dual meet top 20, 30, if you will. For they're number 23. So this is a top 25 matchup for Penn State. But they at least put out some tape here going up against fairly comparable competition in a top 20 Pitt team. Sheldon Seymour at 133. It looks like Matty Lopez took over for Ryan Crookham. So Crookham will wrestle at 33. Malik Hines is a possibility there, or based on the Lehigh wrestling department pre-match notes, there's a possibility that Carter Bailey would wrestle at 41 against Bartlett, or Malik Hines. Kelvin Griffin is ranked 29th, 31st, depending on which rankings you follow, at 49. Griffin Gonzalez or Logan Rosinski could wrestle at 157. Zeke Dubler, Richie Grungo, or Thane Lawrence could wrestle all at 165 against Mitchell Messenbrink. Good luck. Rylan Rogers at 174 against Levi Haynes. Caden Rogers at 184, or a Jack Wilt potentially. And then, like I said, the headline matchup, 197, Michael Beard, who's ranked 6th per Intermat against Josh Barr, who is 23rd, but really he's top 10. He's top 10. And then at heavyweight, Calvin Lockman is going to wrestle Greg Kirkblade. At least that's the projected lineup for both sides. Penn State should take care of business across the board, but I am watching 197, first and foremost, Josh Barr versus Michael Beard. That is two All-Americans going up against one another for this upcoming postseason. Is Braeden Davis going to wrestle? And if he does, how does he handle Ryan Crookham? And is he 100%? And then at 125, just because I want to continue to see the progression of Luke Lilledahl and against a, solid opponent. That's a solid matchup for him against the top 15 wrestler. That's going to do it here for this edition of Locked On Nittany Lions. If you have any predictions, expectations for Penn State versus Lehigh, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. If you are going to the dual meet, enjoy. That is a sold-out PPL Center, so the atmosphere will be incredible this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And thank you so much for checking out this episode. As always, please leave a like on this episode, share it with friends and family, and if you're not already, become an everydayer, subscribe to Locked On Nittany Lions on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts for the latest conversations around your favorite Penn State sports teams.